Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi. We are responding to these two idiots again. So let's get started. Oh, I should actually put a poll. Do you agree with Nick Fuentes? Should I put that? Yeah, maybe I should have put a poll because I want to see these live streams, by the way, guys, it attracts a whole bunch of groypers. And it's interesting because at the beginning, it's just us sane people. But then as the stream gets into the 30-minute mark, all of a sudden, the I don't know, somebody opens the doors of an asylum somewhere. I don't know, like, well, actually, so, wait, let me see. Do you agree with Nick Fuentes? Should I put that in the? Yes, I will put that in the poll so that we could have a poll to see where it's good because it actually you can see when they start showing up because the poll changes from majority no to majority yes as we go along, right? Let me see. Right now, it's just my favorite people here in the chat. The insane people are not here yet. As we play, they might show up. So let's just get started.
What about Candace Owens? This is always popping up on my.
Let's before we get to the Candace Owens, let's actually start a little bit earlier so we see how we got started. We got to this point, and then we'll let them talk about Candace Owens.
Like I am obsessed with politics, and I think people don't get that. People always want to get to the mystery of like, who is the person? Like, what does your day look like? What do you do for fun? People ask me questions like that, and I feel like SpongeBob when he says fine dining and breathing. You know, it's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not. So I guess that's why I say I'm not like a chill, normal dude that is going to go and get a beer with you and oh yeah, I smoke a little bit sometimes and I'm like a normal guy. I'm preoccupied with this.
See, I don't like the word freak. It's also just that you don't cave to your vices. And that's partly why Chuck Schumer is saying that you have to be condemned because you can't get honeypotted. You're not going to get got with drugs.
When Schumer comes out and tells you that you have to be condemned, tells people that you have to be condemned, that's when you know you've made it. I mean, I don't know if you could ask for any better marketing than that. Like, what did they think they're going to get out of that? That's the best form of marketing.
They're not going to get got with women. They're not going to tempt you with some sort of deal. You can't be bought or sold, and you can't get got. That doesn't make you a freak. That just means that you have specific morals that you're not going to bend to. And I think it's freaky to so many other people because they get into this for other reasons.
That's true. Well, and so many people have met their end because of stuff like that. That's always what gets people fucked up is, especially because of what I do. It is there's so much pressure around this that if you have problems with like alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, then that really exacerbates every other underlying problem, So it's like, for example, let's say I had a family, let's say I have a wife. If somebody comes to my house with a gun, that could like ruin my marriage.
They have leverage.
Yeah. And if I'm a drinker, let's say I'm having trouble with my family, they're fucking with my family, I'm depressed. Okay, now I'm turning to alcohol and drugs to cope.
Jordan Peterson.
Boom, exactly. So, people underestimate it takes a certain type of person to raise a flag against the system.
So he's kind of suggesting that he has no weaknesses because he doesn't have a family. He's not addicted. I mean, he does have a family, and unfortunately for him, he kind of signaled on Piers Morgan that his weakness is his dad. You should never have talked about your dad if you didn't want people to know that that's your weakness. Because like you said, he has a job and everything, and now you have shown people that that's what pisses you off. I mean, demonstrating that that's what pisses you off is going to be dangerous for your dad. You should have just never talked about it.
And you kind of have to be monomaniacal.
I think a lot of people see the writing on the wall, and this is the playbook of many world leaders. I know when I say, I said at Fuentes rally too, I think this guy's going to become president. They have that in my Wikipedia. But your obsession and just your dedication to the cause, that's the natural path of a future world leader. Do you disagree?
Yeah. I mean, I would say more than a world leader, a revolutionary. Okay, I think that if you're a revolutionary, you have to be that way. It's because to be a world leader, all you got to do is be groomed.
And this is where we lifted off last time, and this is the problem that we're dealing with right now. These revolutionaries. We have 3 different types of revolutionaries right now. And we don't want a revolution because things are actually going well. The world order as it is right now is improving everything. So everybody who considers themselves a revolutionary is a threat to the current world order. And they come in 3 brands. Okay, they come in green, they come in red, and they come in brown, right? So we have the Islamist revolutionaries, we have the Marxist revolutionaries, and we have the, woke right revolutionaries, which is this guy. And the reason why these 3 ideas are the most dangerous is exactly because they're revolutionaries, and their revolution is against the world order as it is, which is the reason why things have been better. Like the world order that we are enjoying right now, this world order is responsible for things being better than 10,000 years of human civilization, of the history of human civilization. I mean, if you want to go read a book to see why the current world order requires defending, just go read this book by Steven Pinker, Enlightenment Now, right? That's a good book for you to see why everything we have right now is worth defending. And that's why these 3 movements, the Islamists, the far left, and the far right, the actual far right, not the patriots, need to be pushed back, need to be defeated. I mean, we already defeated them once on the battlefield. Now we need to defeat them ideologically.
And be obedient to the interests or
Sure.
whatever. But to be a revolutionary, you kind of need to be possessed in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And by I don't mean that in, I'm not gesturing towards anything supernatural, but I mean, you need to become a vessel. You need to almost become more like, you almost lose your humanity in a sense, because you become kind of like the living embodiment of your ideas, of your vision. And I think that's what it takes.
What about Candace Owens? This is always popping up on my timeline. You had a collab that did not go well.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It was a little bit hostile, uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And since then she signaled some good things, like saying that she likes that Nick is resisting the Zionist influence. But now it seems like it's heating up a lot, especially with Charlie Kirk. And I see the disagreement.
You know what Nick Fuentes calls people like Candace Owens? He calls them low IQ anti-Semitism. Meaning that, I mean, in my opinion, he thinks himself as high IQ anti-Semitism, and Candace Owens as low IQ anti-Semitism. And it actually helps for Nick Fuentes that she's both a woman and black, which again confirms that if you want to do for his movement, that if you need to do anti-Semitism properly, just leave it to white men.
Agreements with Ian. What's going on?
And that's his view. I'm not being racist against men, against white people, or sexist against men. That's his view.
Are you guys ever going to find some common ground? What's happening there?
Oh, Candace, she's really something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what is going to happen with her. We're like fire and ice. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, I think she's actually in love with me.
Come on.
No, but I really do. I think she look, no.
Oh my God. Now that he says that, I would bet money that Nick Fuentes has thought about her and done things thinking about her. Now that he says that, I would bet money on that.
No one could deny we had chemistry. No one can deny.
She's happily married. She's.
Yeah, well.
There's a thing with, and I don't say that just to make fun of him. There's this, I've been following a lot of fascists. There's this thing with the people that they hate. They're obsessed with them sexually for some reason. This is no joke. This is a real thing. The fascists, the very people that they hate the most, they're also sexually obsessed with them. That has been something weird that I've discovered, and I don't know why. I think it's something about dominating them and having power over them or something like that.
Chemistry. No one can deny.
She's happily married. She's.
Yeah, well.
She's happy.
Look, yeah.
No, but I really do. I think she. Look, no one could deny we had chemistry. No one can deny.
She's happily married. She's.
Yeah, well.
She's happily married.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
Look at this. This is the guy who was pretending that the reason why on Piers Morgan he was such a good little Catholic boy by saying that I haven't had sex is because he's conservative and abiding by Catholic values. This is the reason why he hasn't had sex, because just like a good little Catholic, he's going to wait until he gets married. But now he's talking about sexually going after a married woman, another Catholic married woman, may I add. And he's like, well, the heart wants what the heart wants. Okay, sure.
Yeah, well,
She's happily married.
the heart wants what the heart wants. No, but she
The That's So Raven stuff was so funny. It's like she was saying,
she had a vision.
yeah, that was.
I just had a vision. Chelsea, Eddie, I just had a vision.
I like
Chelsea,
Candace.
Charlie. Do you watch That So Raven back in the
I did. It would zoom into the eye, and she had. Yeah, it's funny because she's also black. Like that's what makes it better. It's the black woman dream thing.
Yeah.
But
Wait, we got a super chat. Shauna is saying, it's not just fascists. Tal says Arabs have the same problem. They will harass IDF women because they enjoy being abused by the woman toxic. Yeah, oh yeah. There's a huge obsession with white women in the Muslim community. There's a major obsession with white women. Major obsession. Like there are many Muslims who are willing to burn the entire world if it gets them 2 minutes to just hold 2 minutes with a white woman. They're willing to pay everything for those 2 minutes. I know this is a thing. This is such a big problem, by the way. This is why some white women become Muslim, because they all of a sudden realize the amount of attention they get from like 2 billion people if they just become Muslim. Yeah.
So good.
I see that they're really annoyed. It seems like there's this feud about when
B teacher in the chat is saying, "Ew, don't touch us." Ew. But no, BT, you have to say it like this. You have to say, brother, ew, brother, ew. You know that meme? You should say it like that.
happened to Charlie Kirk, which seems like the second biggest catalyst in your year. Unfortunately, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
I disagreed with him heavily. I did the day before you said, and you guys went to war with each other ideologically. Him passing away, it seemed like that was the second major event, especially after the Trump nuking Iran or bombing Iran. What has transpired since then? What's the deal with Erika Kirk? I saw she was recently saying Charlie Kirk spoke Hebrew, and she's saying Shabbat Shalom. She had the Israeli star here. What's happening with this situation?
Well, so Monday is really when it blows up, because Turning Point is going to address all the conspiracies in a live stream this coming Monday, so in 2 days. And I guess Candace is going to react to it. And honestly, I'm not taking a side in it. And here's why. One, I have taken a side on what transpired. I think Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And people say that's Fed slop, that's the FBI's narrative, blah, blah, blah. I think that the radical left is real. Like, left-wing people are out there.
See, this is why Nick is more dangerous. Even though he has conspiracy theories that are insane, he does believe in some insane conspiracy theories. He picks and chooses them carefully. He's not like Candace Owens, who has basically signed up for every fucking conspiracy theory that she could grab. Like Nick Fuentes has some standards. He will basically select the ones that are more sellable and more productive when it comes to demonizing Jews. He's not going to go with the low quality, low IQ conspiracy theories by, that this black woman believes in, because they're just obviously not on his level, right? So obviously he's not going to go as far as saying like, oh yeah, radicalism, like everything is done by the Jews. He's like, well, some evil is done by other people that are not French or Jewish. Okay, I don't know French. By the way, I still don't know how we got the French involved in all of this. It's insane, but whatever. So Nick, the reason why Nick is more dangerous than Candace Owens is because relative to Candace Owens, he makes a lot more sense. And that's why it's easier, it's more difficult to dismiss him.
Killing people. And I not only do I not think it's far-fetched, I think it's likely that some hick lib, tranny lover, autist got a gun and fucking shot him because Charlie Kirk is in the culture war against LGBTQ and the anarchists and whatever. I think that's totally likely, actually. I haven't actually even seen a credible alternative theory. You have all these like little things they say about, oh, there's an Egyptian plane and these people in maroon. It's like, but what's the theory? Who's the suspect? Where's the other murder weapon? Like, they haven't produced anything like that. So I do think that Tyler Robinson killed him. As far as Erika and Candace are concerned, I can't take a side on that because I have issues with both of them. I think that Turning Point did kind of opportunistically take advantage of Charlie's murder. I think that's obvious. Their big like memorial.
Fireworks everywhere. She's wearing leather pants, and
yeah,
the way she's hugging JD Vance is a little. It's a bit much, you know.
Yeah, and she's, you know, look. Everybody grieves differently. Totally valid.
Okay.
And
yeah, but guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Erika, Charlie Kirk's wife, she hasn't been originally. She was being received very well, but she's now not being received very well. It's not working out. It's not working out for Turning Point USA. Like I don't think Erika doesn't have what it takes to. I mean, she's not Charlie, so, and it seems like a lot of people are finding I don't know if it's justifiably or unjustifiably, but they're not. It's not resonating. Then it's not the way that she talks and the way she acts. It's not resonating with people.
Honest to God, I pray for her and for her family. You can't even imagine. She's got 2 kids now without a father.
It's a tragedy.
It's horrible, and I really feel for her. That being said, she is clearly acting. When she goes on these shows, it's so canned. Like, and we just have to be honest. Yeah. She's doing she's in the interview.
I mean, honestly, let me be fair. Honestly, he has a point that, I mean, I don't know if it's right or not, but that's what the impression I get. Like, he is correct about this. At least the impression. That's the impression I get when I listen to her. Is that what you guys get as well when you listen to her?
To Barry Weiss, and Barry goes, "What do you have to say to Candace Owens?" And she goes, "Stop. That's it." she goes, "That's it. That's all I have to say." It's like, come the fuck on. And the handkerchief.
Yeah, I know. And she's always like this strategic amount of tears. Oh,
Mafongo. I mean, the handkerchief. Come on now. And it's like Ben Shapiro's hat. It's getting bigger. She's gonna have like a fucking, beach towel next to it. But we shouldn't joke.
Yeah, Shauna in the chat saying she seems too religious. She does seem way more religious than Charlie himself. That's what the sense I get
about that. I do feel for her, but Turning Point is doing a very bad job. Because look, I think I have my criticisms of Turning Point, but they have a right to defend themselves because they're being accused of like murdering her fucking husband. That's a very serious accusation. Candace is saying that she murdered her fucking husband and the father of her kids. That's a very serious charge that, if real, if you're not sincere, it's like an evil lie.
Yeah.
And I think that Turning Point, they should be sticking up for themselves. They're just not doing a good job of it. It's very bad PR. It's too calculated. It's inconsistent. It's all over the place. That being said, I think Candace is extremely dishonest also. I think she plays fast and loose with her theories. I don't think she has a lot of intellectual integrity. And
I don't know if I don't think she's lying. I think she's cuckoo. I honestly don't think Candace is lying. I think she's just insane. I think she actually believes the bullshit she's saying. What do you guys think? I genuinely think Candace actually believes the shit that she's saying. I think she has completely lost it.
I think she's sort of a narcissist. I think that at this point, it's hard not to say that this has become a grift. Every week, she goes on Instagram. This changes everything. Tune in tomorrow. Oh, this just changed the whole conversation. Watch my show next week.
Yeah. I like Candace, but it's like I and she shouldn't have posted text messages showing that Charlie was listening to Nicki Minaj. That was like a little bit. If I die, please don't show that. I like Monster. I like that verse that she had on Twisted Fantasy, but don't, him like fangirling over Nicki Minaj.
He goes,
like
yes.
Yeah. I don't want to see.
Bitch,
I don't want to know that.
Monster.
I don't want to know that, man. Like maybe keep that. But hopefully she gets on, is able to figure this stuff out. Do you think that Erika's trying to reposition Charlie's Israeli position? Because it seems like towards his death, Charlie was critical. He went on the Patrick Bet-David show and he's questioned what happened on October 7th very publicly. And he was there with Megyn Kelly, I think one of his last podcasts, saying that he was getting bullied and that you have to have complete allegiance to.
Well, the thing is, Charlie Kirk was, even before all of this, he had always said that he might be critical of Israeli government, but he will always pro-Israel as a country. So you guys want to keep acting like that was something new and he was changing sides. He's always, even before, there's old videos of him saying that he's critical of certain things that the government of Israel does. But for Israel as a country, he's always pro. And nothing he said, even though he might have said some things, Charlie Kirk might have said some things about, October 7th that I disagree with. Nothing Charlie ever said, even at the very end, suggested that he was going anti-Israeli. Maybe he was turning a little bit against Netanyahu. Maybe not. I don't think so, because the letter that he sent Netanyahu, the last letter, shows how much he cared for Israel. And he was being critical of Netanyahu because he thought Netanyahu was not doing a good job defending Israel. But it also demonstrated, no matter how critical he was of Netanyahu, it was all within the framework of him loving and defending Israel. And that was not changing.
The Israeli lobby. It seems like Erika is trying to reposition and change the narrative to make it seem like he was fully supportive of Israel. And also they met in...
He was fully supportive of Israel. Even if he was critical of the government, that was for the sake of being supportive of Israel.
Didn't they meet? They met in a pilgrimage. I didn't know Christians go on a pilgrimage to Israel, but apparently they do. They didn't meet in America and in a cornfield or underneath the bleachers at a football game. They met in Israel.
Well, and you know what else is weird about her? She's like 6 years older than him. Isn't that weird?
I don't often see marriages like that.
She's 37.
Okay, that's unusual, but it's not weird. It's unusual, but it's not weird.
He's 31. And, if you're Charlie Kirk, you're rich, you're famous, going to be extremely powerful.
Is he trying to suggest that they gave him Erika? Like, is he trying to suggest that Erika is an agent or something? Because you're basically getting on Candace's level of stupidity if you want to suggest that. Like, oh, he's rich. Why didn't he go for someone younger?
Charlie Kirk, you're rich, you're famous, going to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, Shauna, who's a Christian, also is saying, I'm 5 years older than my husband. There you go. I mean, it's not common, but it's not that unusual or weird.
They get set up, and she's 6 years older.
Oh, look at this. Oh, so BT June is saying, I'm 4 years older than my husband. Okay, maybe it's actually more normal than I thought.
I said that from the start, that it seems...
So basically he's suggesting any man that is rich would never marry somebody older than himself. That's what he's suggesting.
Kirk, you're rich, you're famous, going to be extremely powerful. They get set up, and she's 6 years older. So I said that from the start, that it seemed that their marriage was perhaps arranged. And I don't know what her deal...
Wow, Yab's in the chat saying, my wife is 3 years older than me. Okay, you guys, that's okay. Yeah.
But the guy that seems to have gotten powerful at Turning Point is Andrew Colvett. And Andrew Colvett, he's kind of holding down the fort on the Charlie Kirk show. He comes from Salem Media. Salem Media is like a big Zionist outfit. Marissa Straight works there. She runs PragerU. She's that Unit 8200 officer who's at PragerU. And Salem also got that contract with the Israel lobby. They registered under FARA, $6 million contract to lobby with Israel with Brad Parscale.
$6 million contract?
Literally, yeah, $6-7 million, something like that. It's in that ballpark. Very good. Oh no!
God, are they're doing the 6-7 meme? Are you? Oh my God, they're acting like teenagers.
But yeah, so they seem to be steering Turning Point hard back into the, and Colvett was on Ross Douthat on the New York Times podcast saying, you know, it's okay to criticize the foreign aid, but you must verify that Israel has a right to exist, kind of echoing their line from SAS in July. I will say, I think it's overblown, the extent to which Charlie was turning on Israel. I think that's basically fake.
Oh, wow. Okay, guys, this is a problem. Nick actually doesn't go as far as even taking advantage of so many people saying Charlie was turning against Israel. He's not even touching that. He's very selective. This is a problem, guys, because his movement is really more difficult to make fun of. You know, it's really easy to make fun of the movement that Candace Owens leads. But look at this. He's like, I honestly thought that he would go for this one. You know, suggesting that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, that's basically on Candace Owens' level of lunacy. But suggesting that Charlie Kirk was turning on Israel, I thought that was widespread. I mean, it is widespread enough for me to think that, you know, Nick Fuentes will jump on that one. That is not as loony as saying Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel. But he's not even going with that one. He's very selective. This is a more rational movement, unfortunately. Like, it's a more sophisticated version of a Jew hatred that we have to deal with. This is why Nick is very dangerous.
You don't think he was turning on Israel?
No.
Okay.
I think that it's
like somebody saying, yeah, Nick doesn't buy it either. Like even Nick, like imagine how fucking retarded you have to be as a Jew hater if you think Charlie was turning against Israel, when even the king of Jew haters is not buying that. Like how fucking retarded you are. Like you are too far gone. Like even the king of Jew haters is not going to take you in.
I think it's overblown, the extent to which Charlie was turning on Israel. I think that's basically fake.
You don't think he was turning on Israel?
No.
Okay.
I think that it's, and I've explained it a lot of times on my show.
Wait, what was the question Sneako asked?
Charlie was turning on Israel. I think that's basically fake.
You don't think he was turning on Israel?
No.
Okay.
I think that it's, and I've explained it a lot of times on my show, but I think that what happened with Charlie is that this, first of all, we have to understand he was everything to everybody. Turning Point made $140 million because he was a brown noser. He was a grifter. He was very good at milking donors for money. And he, like Trump, is a contradiction. Like to the far right, he was becoming anti-Semitic. To the Israel lobby, he was one of their only remaining allies. And so I think that you have to consider that Charlie, being a youth leader, he had to go on the campus and defend Israel to all these college kids that are becoming groypers. And I think that war.
Yeah, this is what Charlie was getting tired of. He wasn't turning against Israel. Charlie was getting tired of fighting a battle among young people, among young conservatives that seemed unwinnable. So he realized that so many young conservatives in the United States were turning against Israel that if he wanted to insist in defending Israel among them, he would lose his entire movement. So he was trying to prioritize American issues over Israeli issues because he realized that he cannot win this. That's what was happening with Charlie Kirk. He was getting exhausted. And he was frustrated with the Israeli government for why they are not doing more in defending Israel. And why does he have to do it when Israel itself is not doing a good job defending Israel?
And defend Israel to all these college kids that are becoming groypers. And I think that wore on him. And I think he got frustrated. I think he was going to the Israeli donors and saying, well, I'm getting killed out here. You know, not just, I'm not being glib when I say that, but like he's going saying, I'm getting grilled for being pro-Israel. It's hurting my reputation. I have to defend this shit. Mm-hmm. And he said in his letter to Netanyahu, he goes, I think I'm defending Israel more than you're defending yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think he was really put between a rock and a hard.
Yeah, I read that letter in full. He was very frustrated with Israel not doing a good enough job defending Israel. By the way, that's where the $7,000 comes from. You know how the people here in the chat keep saying like, "Oh, where's your $7,000? $7,000?" Because after Charlie Kirk's death, and also the letter showing how much Charlie was critical of Israel not doing enough job defending Israel, they came up with this idea of like paying influencers to post, which is a really not a good plan. Like, Israel doesn't really seem to be that good at marketing Israel. They seem to be good at many things, but not at marketing Israel. So,
place because the Israelis were
say like in the chat, somebody saying enjoy your 7K. This is where all of that came from.
Completely intolerant of guys like Tucker and stuff like that. And Charlie needed to keep those people happy, needed to keep the college kids on the plantation. So I think he was just kind of being tugged in two different directions and being ripped apart. I don't think he was like an ideologue who had an epiphany and like realized Israel's a problem and anything like that. I think that's overblown.
And you were right about JD Vance. I remember the last stream, maybe the last desktop stream we did, we were in my Miami apartment, and it was the day before you got unbanned on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you said, Elon, give me my fucking Twitter back. You got it back. And one of the major thing you said, I had told you that I think Ben Carson was going to get the VP nomination. You're like, no, it's JD Vance. Remember, I'm not going to say who. Somebody told me that tip. He's like, oh, put all your money on this. He's going to, I don't gamble, but I think he lost a lot of money. And you were right. JD Vance got the nomination. It seems like they are trying to position him to maybe take some of Charlie Kirk's empty spot, but also as the next leader of America. What's the truth about this guy? You're the only person to really expose the fact that he was in the Senate for only 2 years, and then he got VP. He was,
oh God, please no. JD Vance, is he going to be the next president? Hopefully not.
the never Trumper. I remember that. He was very vocally anti-Trump, and now he's the biggest glazer for Trump. What's the truth about this guy? He has some weird connections going on. JD Vance is a fake name. He was part of that Yale group. He's getting funded by Peter Thiel, who has CIA connections. Peter Thiel is gay, right?
Yeah.
And he's bankrolling AI right now, funding the end of the world. He's giving JD Vance $15 million. What's going on
How is that the end of the world? AI is going to make everything better
here?
Well, I mean, that's such a big can of worms with Vance, but I would say that in particular after Turning Point, here's what I found really fascinating. So you remember, I forget what event it was at. They went to the White House for Erika.
Okay, Chuck is saying, what does being gay have to do with AI? They're both things that these people disapprove of. That's why they were putting it in a list. Like, they were basically saying the things that they don't like about the guy. Being gay and funding AI are the two things that they are against.
To receive the Medal of Freedom on Charlie's behalf from Trump and Vance. And I don't know if it was there or if it was at a different event. I think Vance did a Turning Point event and Erika was there. And remember, Erika gave him that really affectionate hug where she like held the back of his head. And everyone said it was super weird. And she said on the stage, she said, no one can fill my husband's shoes except for Vance, basically. And people said, well, that's obvious what that was. Also, Vance really leapt in front of Charlie's death. Like, he carried Charlie's casket, had him buried with honors or whatever. He had the military fly the casket. He went on Charlie Kirk's show the week after the assassination. So that was kind of like.
Shauna saying, thank you, Shauna. Shauna saying, I think if Vance runs, the Democrats will win the next presidential election. Holy shit, really? Fucking hell, I hope not then.
One flavor.
Guys, we on this channel we support Marco Rubio as the next president of the United States. Marco Rubio.
Then Tucker interviewed me at the end of October. Now, Tucker's son Buckley works in Vance's press office. So when Tucker interviewed me, the Israel lobby put the screws in Vance. They said, what is your connection to Tucker? Are you going to fire his son? You need to disavow. You need to show that you stand with Israel against the Groypers. So then, last week, Erika was being interviewed, and they said, do you think JD Vance should be the next president? And suddenly, completely frosty tone, Erika says, well, let's just appreciate that Trump is president, and, my husband fought to get Trump in office. She wouldn't answer. So you go from
Yeah, that's pretty normal. Why would she answer that?
she's hugging his head, he's the only one that can replace. If I grabbed his ass, that would have been less controversial. But then after the Israel lobby turns on Vance, now she goes, oh, I don't know if he should be the next president.
Yeah, that's a pretty normal answer to give. Sean is saying, love Rubio, but he's short. I don't make the rules. Wait, is that a rule? If you're short, you're not going to win? Damn, is that a rule? Who made the rules? Where is this actually a rule in politics? You can't be president. People won't vote for you if you're too short.
That is weird as fuck. And I tweeted the video. It's on my Twitter timeline. It's so, whatever that is, it's weird. And something's up there.
What do you think is the truth about Erika Kirk?
I honestly think that she is an extremely ambitious person. And like I said, I think it was an arranged marriage. I think she is somebody who wanted to marry political royalty. He needed a wife. Mm-hmm. They were set up.
By who? Who arranged it? They met in Israel.
Who knows? The powers that be.
Oh my God. Okay. So I take that back. Nick Fuentes is retarded. Okay. He just doesn't believe in the same conspiracy theories as Candace. But again, finally, we saw a conspiracy theory that he agrees with. So the powers that be made Charlie Kirk marry Erika. Okay.
And like I said, I think it was an arranged marriage. I think she is somebody who wanted to marry political royalty. He needed a wife. Mm-hmm. They were set up.
By who? Who arranged it? They met in Israel.
Who knows? The powers that be.
Who are the powers that be?
Fixers, their handlers, whoever. Because when you're a Charlie Kirk, when you're an Erika, you swim in.
Are you just talking about normal matchmaking or people introducing each other with each other in the world of politics? Like, I mean, that is not arranged. Whatever working environment that you have, people, if they know two people are single and looking, they're going to introduce them to each other. That's just normal.
In that school of fish, with connected people, you don't even know who's beside you sometimes. And so they were put together. They say that Erika applied to work for Turning Point, and that's how they met. That's a crock of shit. Mm-hmm. So I think that now that Charlie...
Guys, you don't have to... This is normal. This happens in our daily lives as well. Like, this person is looking, that person is looking. What if we get them together? Like, this is fucking normal shit. Why do you have to make a conspiracy theory out of everything?
He's dead. They're trying to groom her to be some kind of political figure, and they're creating. The reason I think that is because they are choreographing these breakout moments. I forgive the killer. That was a choreographed moment.
So I don't know if it was choreographed, but to be fair, it did really look like it. I can't tell. I cannot read minds, so I don't know what people's intentions were, but it did look like it was, even if it wasn't.
That's like an Obama-esque West Wing, House of Cards, as cynical as it gets. Here's your white dress. Here's your husband's memorial. You're going to forgive the killer, and everyone is going to say, oh, Erika's amazing, whatever. So like they're like grooming her for something, I think.
That is, even though
they're not grooming her if they're not grooming her, they lost the main guy that kept Turning Point USA together, and nobody could do it like Charlie. So they were hoping that his legacy would live on through his wife, and maybe his wife could keep Charlie's baby alive. This is not grooming. This is basically trying to keep the organization running.
So like they're
these are guys, like the way that the framing makes it sound so much more mysterious, or I don't know, like than it is. It's just normal stuff. This is what you would expect to happen.
Say, oh, Erika's amazing, whatever. So like they're like grooming her for something, I think.
That is
grooming,
even though
grooming her for something based on the words that you use. Like, if, for example, if a CEO of a company retires and then they find like somebody within the company to turn into the CEO to replace him, are you going to call that grooming? Like, what a weird word to use. You're just making things seem much more evil than they are.
I could see your argument there. That is what you're supposed to say as a Christian. You're supposed to forgive your enemies. You know, so there's some respect there. No.
Because she doesn't. I don't think she does. I don't think anyone could. I mean, let's say your husband got murdered in cold blood, and a week later you go, I'm over it. I forgive him. Like, as Christians, you know, you don't just freely forgive everybody.
You're supposed to. That's what I mean. Hey, Shauna, isn't that what you're supposed to do as a Christian?
You know, you don't just freely forgive everybody. Sometimes it takes time, and the person needs to be
We have an expert Christian here in the chat. Shauna is our expert Christian.
repentant, and even then, you don't exonerate that person. So,
Nope.
you know, I thought it was ridiculous because here's how I feel about it. Either she meant it, in which case it's kind of fucked up. It's like if my
How are you a Christian? You're supposed to be very Christian, Nick Fuentes. It's fucked up that she forgave him. Isn't forgiveness the central teaching of your religion? Look at this. This guy acts like he's more Christian than most people, and he wants a Christian theocracy. He calls people who disagree with him like blasphemers and other shit like that. He takfirs them. He basically takfired Charlie by saying he's not even a real Christian. And now he says like, oh, she's forgave him. That's weird. Isn't that the central, one of the most important part of your religions? Yeah, we are. Sean is saying, I got to look up scripture. We're supposed to forgive. Yeah, I've read scripture. You're supposed to forgive. But look at this uber Christian, supposedly uber Christian guy is telling us that it's weird that he forgave Charlie's killer.
time, and the person needs to be repentant. And
yeah, I know forgiveness is an absence of worldly punishment, though. I know that, but still, you are supposed to forgive, and he's saying that that's weird.
And even then, you don't exonerate that person. So, I thought it was ridiculous because here's how I feel about it. Either she meant it, in which case it's kind of fucked up. It's like if my wife, imagine if you got murdered and your wife came out a week later and was like, I forgive his killer. You'd be like,
so you just basically said that Christianity is fucked up. This apparently this Christian far right, Catholic nationalist who thinks that, nationalism is a good thing, but like a far right Catholic Christian theocrat, right? He's saying forgiving. You're supposed to forgive your own enemies. You're supposed to forgive the worst of worst people. So by saying that's fucked up, you're saying Christianity is fucked
about
up.
it. Either she meant it, in which case it's kind of fucked up. It's like if my wife, imagine if you got murdered.
Yeah. So guys, by the way, quote Nick Fuentes: Christianity is kind of fucked up. That's his quote.
And your wife came out a week later and was like, I forgive his killer. You'd be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Somebody in the chat saying scripture doesn't say you have to publicly state your forgiveness, bro. I know, bruh. But that's not what Nick is saying, bruh. Nick is saying forgiving him in general is fucked up, bruh. Okay, bruh? What is this with the bro at the end? Do you think your point is going to be more valid by adding a bro at the end?
He meant it, in which case it's kind of fucked up. It's like if my wife, imagine if you got murdered and your wife came out a week later and was like, I forgive his killer. You'd be like, I'm sorry, you're not angry still? You're not like upset? And if she's lying, then that's like,
yeah, saying being angry doesn't mean you could forgive the person and be angry. That's what you're supposed to do.
Really evil to say you forgive him when you really don't, because it's like you're just,
I appreciated some of that because, and I see what you're saying, because it felt really tense at the time. I remember you were supposed to come to New York or something, and I was, after a while, I said, I'm going to abandon the 1 Minute podcast. I'm not going to, maybe I'll leave New York. I thought the political violence would triple. It seems like it really died down quickly. I think we were all political commentators, especially those public and especially those considered on the same atmosphere as Charlie, were nervous. But stuff like that, I think, did warm. I think it did cool down some of the heat.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, that was kind of an important thing to do at that time, but and by that I mean to get everybody to get level-headed, but I think at that point it was sort of past the point. It was like a week and a half later.
And even then, I can understand why someone like you, the amount of heat that you have to face, and even then, I don't know if you want me to talk about it so much, but I just saw you have to pay $635 for this phone. It's just like the stuff that you have to deal with, and the amount of. Do you ever wonder, like, when can I get out of this? Where is the light at the end of the tunnel? Although you've had a phenomenal year, and I think everyone in the chat we could say congratulations. It's really cool to see the progression. How are you able to deal with all this stuff? Like some lady comes to your house and then you have to, pay for the phone, and you're facing, you do a good show and immediately they try to tear it down. Mm-hmm. How are you dealing with all this stuff?
Well, I love to fight. All real Americans love to fight. So I live for it. I live for the constant war, for the constant battle. So I'm fine with it. And that's kind of just what you're in for. If I wanted to be beloved, if I wanted to be, to have kind of an easygoing life, I just would have worked for Daily Wire 10 years ago,
You would have taken the deal.
But I was born for the fucking struggle. I was born for the war. So I'm in it. I'm locked in for the Groiper War. And
this is the fetish these people, this is the revolutionary fetish these people have. You also have it more when you're younger. I mean, some people grow out of it when they get older. But this is the same revolutionary fetish that Islamists, Marxists, the woke left, and these fucking idiots have. They want to be the hero of the story that they just made up.
And, I'll rest when I'm old. If I can live to an old age, that's when I'm gonna.
You're just a white ass nigga going hard as fuck.
I'm a white ass nigga going hard as fuck all day. Yeah,
yeah. My nigga, man. Let's go.
Again, reminder that both of these people's ideal government would execute the other one. Okay, Sneako's ideal government would execute Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes' ideal government would execute Sneako. Bunch of fascists. They're supposed to be enemies.
I mean, so you're not going to take the gambling deal? Have you been offered any crazy deals? I'm sure since this blow up, you've been proposed with some crazy numbers to change your rhetoric or to push an agenda.
I've been offered millions of dollars this year for different sponsorships. I mean, I got a gambling offer. I got a gold offer, which I might do, by the way.
The gold one, yeah.
Because gold is, but I haven't taken it. I'm going to ask my audience if they're okay with it. But I got offered that. I kind of turned it down. And then I got offered at like $250,000 to debate Candace Owens. Somebody hit me up. They said, would you debate Candace Owens? We're going to pay you $500,000 or $250,000. We'll pay her $250,000. I said, don't give that bitch any more money. I said, no, I don't. I don't take the money because I don't want her to get the money. So I turned.
She has all these legal. If she needs Macron sooner, man.
Yeah.
Wow. She might need it.
Fucking $1 billion to him.
And you said no.
But do you guys believe that what he's saying, that he's fighting it? He's doing this fight for the cause, and it's not about the money, and he believes it so much that he's willing to give up $250,000 just so that Candace doesn't get it. Do you guys believe that? Because I believe that. I really do think that he's more ideological. I don't think that he's doing it for money. I really do actually believe that he is. He believes all of this shit. He thinks that he's fighting a good fight.
Out of that,
yeah.
But you should be doing well. The super chats are going up. But I watch the show very frequently. I can see it's starting to become aggravating. The people. I noticed the difference. I've been around for a long time, and the TTS used to be the same couple people. You recognize the names, and now it's these people in Ohio and Wyoming that are like, 271,000.
Yeah.
What about the guest? It's just like I can see how that. Do you ever want to just escape?
Yeah, I want to just stop dealing with human beings. I want to go underground or like to the North Pole or something. Because, I mean, the problem is a movement gets so big. I was just talking to my buddies about this. Probably 70% of Groypers came around this year.
Yeah.
And you think about it, it's like I've been doing this for 10 years, and now the number of people that discovered me this year outnumber the people that have been around like 10 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's just kind of hard because
that's a very scary number, by the way, guys. His movement is growing fast, exponentially fast.
I've been in it, struggling, fighting, refining. And then you get these people, like you said, they're like, oh, the Holocaust is fake, well, whatever, whatever goofy shit. And you're like, yeah, that's hilarious. I remember when I had my first beer, I remember when I did that for the first time. So
see that they moved past so many of the low IQ, anti-Semitism. These people are basically playing at a higher level.
It's a little irritating now.
Yeah, so I saw you talk about, not to get too personal, but you said you were going to take a vacation soon. It's been a crazy year. You're always traveling. You're doing these collabs. Are you able to take your foot off the gas? So like, what is that responsibility like now? You're leading a new movement, the new American right. Even your lack of presence at this event, this Republican event, it's very obvious. Everyone's thinking about it, right? It's especially after Charlie Kirk. Everyone knows that you now carry the baton for the future of the.
Nick is so anti-degeneracy. Did they ever thought at any point for Nick to push back on Sneako defending having intercourse with children, with 9-year-olds? Like, is he ever going to mention that, hey, you defend the idea of having sex with a 9-year-old is okay? Like, is that not the form of degeneracy that you should be fighting against, given that you're conservative? Sneako defends that, and because his prophet Muhammad did that, he has debated people defending that, having sex with a 9-year-old. Sneako in multiple debates have defended that position. Like, how could you pretend that you're anti-degeneracy while this person basically does the ultimate, defends the most disgusting form of it, and you just sit next to him and like a friend, and you don't even challenging him on that?
American right. It used to be they would ignore you and they wouldn't say your name. They would kind of hint at it or say undercover codes. Now they're just saying it, and they're trying to cope with the fact that you are clearly going to lead the American young right. What is that responsibility like now?
Somebody in the chat saying, "Now we will fight Jewish power first." Yeah, exactly. These people are uniting with everybody and anybody, Muslim, leftist, Marxist, woke, whatever. Because they're all uniting. They're putting all their differences aside to unite against the Jews.
Going to lead the American young right. What is that responsibility like now? You're 27.
It's tough. I mean, the biggest thing is it's a lot of endurance, because like I said, I've been fighting for 10 years. And by that, I mean, there's no weeks off. I've never taken more than a week off for 10 years since I started this. And it's like, when January 6th happened, I said, I literally can never miss a show for more than a week, because if I do, people stop going to my website. If I'm not on YouTube and Twitter, if I am not visible, people forget about me and stop showing up.
You're virtually dead.
Right. So, having to constantly keep up the momentum, constantly like being visible, being present, it's exhausting. It's a lot of travel, a lot of content, and having to deal with the hate and the different ops that are being ran against me. It's a lot. It can be overwhelming at times. And that's when that's why I have a lot of indulgences, the fast food.
Compared to most people, because you say like, oh, I'm going to take a vacation. Most people like maybe go to Cancun or resort, get a girl and the drink and just get, I can't imagine you spending more than 3 days relaxing. What do? You go to a hotel and you're like, I like a bathtub in a hotel.
Literally.
What do you like? I can't even imagine what you would do.
Literally. I literally go in like a hot tub, and that's it. I go in the hot tub. I watch movies. I play Call of War, my favorite. People were saying, he's a Fed. It's Call of Duty, not Call of War. No, Call of War is its own game. It's a grand strategy game. But so yeah, usually I just love staying in a hotel, and I just chill in a hotel for like a week.
And even Thanksgiving, we're there, or flying to LA, it's nonstop. But it seems like you I think you'll be able to. I got to talk to you at dinner about that. It seems like you're handling it, and it doesn't seem like it's weighing on you too much, because like the amount of heat, I'm sure people in the chat have seen it. It's like, how is one guy, especially when Piers Morgan starts talking about families, just that there's got to be some sort of. It seems like there's a lack of humanity with you. Not with you, but with the way people treat you.
Wait, we got a super chat. Ginga is saying Nick is the only one on January 6th that did not get arrested. Is that right? I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. Is that a fact?
You know, like talking about, like, what do they say on that?
Oh, we got another super chat. Yab saying they hate each other. Their ideological what? What does? I don't think they hate each other. I don't think these people are pretending. I think the problem with these type of people is that they are actually genuine, and the audience can tell. The audience is actually smarter when it comes to detecting people being genuine or not than you realize. And because they actually believed in their cause, and because what you see is what you get, people love them. People fall in love with people who are being authentic and genuine. Even if they're representing garbage, shitty ideas like these two are. But the fact that they're genuine, the fact that they're authentic makes people, the fact that they, what you see is what you get, makes people fall in love.
That they should.
Yeah, I know they're ignorant and uneducated and, spreading poison. I know that. But you have to be honest. You have to, guys, don't ever underestimate your enemies. They have charisma. Maybe you don't see it, but the followers see it, and people feel like these are fighters who really believe what they're fighting for, and they like that.
Do like your daddy and kill yourself.
Yeah,
like Hitler.
follow your leader.
What?
Kill
Like
yourself.
literally on
Hitler.
national news saying kill yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be calm maxing. You have to be smirking at all times. It's like Trump. They said to Trump, "How do you deal with the pressure?" And he goes, "It doesn't matter."
Yeah.
He said, "An earthquake happens in India, 400,000 die. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters." He basically said, and it's, you do have to kind of let go, and you kind of just have to, be smug like Pepe. You just have to be like, whatever.
Yeah.
I
have to give respect to Trump for that. I'm surprised he did it. I'm sure you saw the clip. He was leaving a helicopter and he was asked about you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Tucker could talk to whoever. And it's like, you've been attacking this guy. You're just like, you're fat, you're old, you're washed.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And he's like, it's okay. And I realized then that Trump really does approach this as if it's theater, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. It was so similar to when Trump met Mamdani.
Mm-hmm.
And Mamdani campaign, Mamdani said, I'm going to be the biggest headache for Trump. I'm going to, ruin his legacy. And then they're there smiling and hugging and being best friends in the Oval Office. Is that the right approach to see that when people are campaigning, they're not really themselves. It is a performance.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it grifting, but that's what politics is. It's theater. Is that true? It's
a game. Everything is, people have to realize this is something that's kind of like, it may seem obvious or, banal to say, but it does need to be said. You and I right now are in front of a camera. There is a camera in our faces. As Piers Morgan said, we are staring down the barrel of a camera. And that is how people are seeing us. We are both cognizant of the fact that we are in front of a camera on the internet. And you cannot not be cognizant of that. You cannot not be self-conscious of that. And the very fact that the camera is here makes us act differently, speak differently. We all know why. We have to be calculated. We have to be cognizant of privacy, security, the relationships we're trying to maintain. And people don't think of that. People forget the camera is there, and they think that they're looking through a portal at two people having a private, normal interaction, but they're not. They're looking at people on camera that to one degree or another are performing. Yep. And so people would do well to keep in mind that you're not looking through a portal. You're watching something that was made for public consumption, whether that's a campaign, media, politics. And again, that might sound asinine, but it's really important to understand like how media works, why things are the way they are.
And Trump understands that almost better than most politicians. His ability to separate that. Did that surprise you? Do you think that you'd ever be able to? Because he was very happy to see you at that Thanksgiving dinner 3 years ago, right? He said he was impressed.
They're not really making any arguments. They're just basically chit-chatting about their lives.
Do you think that you'd be able to squash it the same way Mamdani did?
Maybe. I don't know that anyone would let me near Trump.
Probably not, no.
His handlers would prevent that, but, never say never. Who knows? But I would certainly, look, I have always maintained great respect for him as a guy, but, look, it's been a total train.
Isn't it crazy that this is what power in politics looks like in 2025? these two young kids, young adults, in a weird ass looking room, and with a weird camera. Like, with I'm still don't know who that guy in the background is. This guy just sitting there. I don't know what he's doing in the dark, working in the dark. I don't know. Like, it's interesting because both of these people have a lot of money, but they just live like some teenagers. It's weird, and they don't look like they represent political power. But these are the both of them represent, especially Nick represents one of the greatest forces of politics right now in the modern world, on planet Earth. And it's just like you look at that and you're like, wow, it doesn't look like it at all.
Wreck and a disaster. I don't even know what the value would be in something like that at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be similar to the Mamdani meeting for sure.
How does the Epstein situation get resolved? I've seen there's more pictures coming out, more reporters are asking about it. This is probably the biggest stain on his legacy, because, the war in Iran, that's a little more, you have to be geopolitically aware to understand that.
None of you are geopolitically aware. You both fucking retards when it comes to geopolitics. And by the way, that was not a war on Iran. That was a war on Islamic Republic in favor of Iran.
Legacy, because, the war in Iran, that's a little more, you have to be geopolitically aware to understand that.
Yeah, by the way, none of these two understand even the basics of geopolitics.
This one is just staying on his reputation. Does that ever does the situation find an end?
No, I don't think there'll be any finality to it, anything climactic. I think that it's like everything else. People are just going to move on and not really care. Like, Trump was the father of the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think all those people would come out and say, we're not voting for Trump. He made the pandemic. People don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, they do give a shit when it comes to some things. Trump's popularity is dropping like a rock. I mean, did you guys just see? Oh, never mind.
It is a setback. It's a temporary humiliation, but like everything else, it will blend into the
People
background.
are going to forget about this. And it's crazy if you said this maybe 10 years ago, that there'd be an island, like a pedophile island, that all world leaders were connected to, that have pictures with the front runner, and that everyone.
There's no evidence for any of this, by the way. You guys are both stupid. The only thing we know is that Epstein was a criminal, that he was taking advantage of children. All of these ideas that world leaders went there and there's pictures of them abusing children. None of this has been shown. None of this has been proven. There's no evidence for any of this. The only thing that has been shown is that Epstein himself was a child abuser, and he got what he deserved, and that's about it. That's all we know. None of these other stuff. Everything else so far is a conspiracy theory.
Forget about it. We'd laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So many of these Black Mirror episodes have ended up becoming true. And I think that's what's going to happen as you continue your rise and this.
Look at this idiot. Look at this fucking moron. Somebody in the chat is saying, LMAO, is this idiot actually defending Epstein? It's funny you called me an idiot because you're the retard here, because I just literally said that he was a garbage human being that abused children and he got what he deserved. And you listened to that and you're so retarded, you're so low IQ that you thought that is defending Epstein. I don't know how you're alive. Like, the IQ level that you are dealing with, it's really interesting that you are not dead already.
The space you have now in the political sphere, people are coming so disillusioned with the current regime, with the power structures. The lack of trust is stronger than it's ever been. That's why somebody like Mamdani wins. It's somebody that they feel they can relate to, somebody that's addressing their problems. How should people, or how should you?
Look at this one in the comments. Somebody saying, are you a Zionist? Yes, I am, motherfucker, and I'm proud of it. What of it? I am a proud Zionist. I'm an Iranian Zionist. Go figure.
Approach this.
Approach what?
This lack of trust with power.
Oh.
With power.
It's really scary because society's starting to destabilize because of this. I mean, I was talking on my show about how,
you know what, guys, what I should do? I should have, I don't know. I think I should have like an Israeli flag somewhere here, just because it pisses people off. I always wanted an Israeli flag behind me, but I thought that a lot of people will be like, Armin, why do you have an Israeli flag behind you? You're Iranian. you should have the flag of your country behind your back. But I just really want an Israeli flag behind me just to piss off these fucking Jew haters. I really want that. I think it would be very cool it would be really cool to have an Israeli flag right here.
I really come from a background of like political theory, kind of like thinking a little bit about political theory at least. And what you understand about the order in society, the societal order, is that it all rests on the authority of the state. And the authority of the state rests on two things: force. They have the guns. Why don't you break the law? That's the representation of the political order, is that there is a government that passes laws. There are cops that enforce the laws. If we break the laws, the cops take us to jail. So we all recognize, why do people obey the laws? Because the cops have guns. Mm-hmm. If you don't obey the laws, they'll kill you. But also you recognize that there's only 1 million soldiers. There's maybe 1 million cops. There's 300 million people. So they don't have more force than all the people put together. So the other thing that gives the government authority is legitimacy. People think that the government has a right to rule. And that is what is being eroded. The legitimacy of the government. Yeah.
The government has the power to rule. The right comes after having the power. And the power comes from the people, and political power comes from military strength, economic strength, and people, and support from the people. Those are the three political powers you have. And with power, you get legitimacy.
Believe that we even have a nation, that the government is fair, that the government is efficacious, that the Constitution, the social contract, is valid or has integrity, that the elections are legitimate. Like, that's why they took that so seriously when Trump undermined the elections, because if you say the elections are fake, then you say the government has no legitimacy, then you're saying revolution is a mandate, actually. Mm-hmm. So when the legitimacy of the state is being undermined, they have to rely more on force. The less legitimate the government, the more tyrannical it has to be.
That's bullshit. Government always has to rely on force. It's always force. It's either direct force or implied force. The law by itself means that you're abiding by the rules because of the implied force, because of the force that the government would use if you don't follow them. The rule of law requires the government using force. The whole idea of having a state is providing the monopoly of violence to an entity that we call the state. That's the whole point of having a state, is to give the monopoly of the violence to it so that it could rule for us.
And so that's when you see society start to come apart. It's the political violence with the left. It is the tribalism, which is breaking out. It's the conspiracy theorizing. It's even in the way that Trump is trying to change the census 5 years in, gerrymandering the congressional districts. Normally that happens every 10 years. Now it's happening midway through because they're just trying to squeeze out every last seat they can get. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is serious late stage Republic shit. The way they're trying to get money out of everything, the way that they're just motherfucking the laws, abusing.
By the way, this is bullshit. United States is one of the most stable countries in the world. You guys are exaggerating.
Them to get as much power as possible. Everyone knows the system's rigged. The way they're trying to buy everybody off with welfare, it's like,
the system is not rigged. It's a republic, you fucking idiot. The reason why it seems rigged to you because it's not an absolute democracy, and sometimes the majority doesn't get its way. But it's designed to be like that because it's better to be a republic rather than an absolute democracy.
Like, this is serious late republic vibes. And it's all coming apart. And I think then the answer is Napoleon, Caesar. This is the
Rome.
Rome. It's all on Rome. Exactly.
Wow. Hey, I'll leave it there. I said I don't want to hold Nick too long. It's been a long.
All right, guys. Let's just go into our own discussion group and have a talk over there. They didn't really talk as much about. They didn't have really any arguments. They were just chit-chatting about nothing. It's good to see how they think, though. it's really important to see how they think, because if we cannot relate with this generation, we're not going to be able to influence it. So it's really important to listen to how they talk and what they care about, even though there's really not that much argument there for us to respond to. But yeah, you know where you actually going to find good arguments to respond to is in our discussion group, which I linked in the chat. The link is also in the description. Our next discussion is happening in about 15 minutes. We're gonna have a group call there. A lot of the people that you see here in the chat will be there too. I hope. Hey, Shona, did you manage to get your microphone working? Because I want to hear your opinions in our discussion group. So so I hope I see some of you guys there. Our group is growing really fast, by the way. Faster than I anticipated, so that's pretty good. Again, I'll put the link to the discussion group one more time in the chat. And again, the link is also in the description. Don't forget to like. Oh, we got a super chat. Let me see what this is. Jaden saying, did you watch Conjuring Annabelle movie? Do you think they're based on true stories or are hoaxes? What? Where is it? Wait, which one? The Conjuring? Of course they are not based. I mean, they're based on true stories of people thinking stuff that didn't happen. Are you talking about the movie that I think you're talking about? I don't believe in the supernatural, if that's what you're saying. They are based on real stories of people thinking that they saw some supernatural shit, but none of it was supernatural. There was just everything that happened could be explained by natural forces. Yeah, I have seen them. Well, I think I saw one of them. It was a long time ago. Right. Yes, but I'm an atheist. I'm a materialist, so I don't believe in supernatural. Every time I've investigated any of these phenomenon, it became immediately obvious that people were making something out of nothing. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to recommend this channel. And I'm Israel Chai, Javid Shah. See you guys on the next stream. Mwah. Bye.